comes the bull rush. They get a pass off. Caught far side to the 10. Will he get there? Yes, he will. To the 10, to the 5, to the pylon. And he's in for the score. Newcomb rolling far side. Gets it out. Caught by Rezix. Touchdown, Panthers. Welcome to Zumwalt North, everybody, and happy home opener. Once again, my name's Tom Hartbeck. I am alongside Adam Lewis for this one. A shout out to Mike Wagon-Connect, who will be having surgery this week, our normal color man. Our producer today is Joey Messenbrink, and our cameraman is Gavin Anderson, and it is Zumwalt North versus Howell. North coming in at 0-1, and Howell coming in at 1-0. Number 5 still in Class 5, Zumwalt North, and number 5 in Class 6 for Francis House. So, Adam, this will be a good one.
Yeah, definitely. You got two really competitive teams here, two perennial powerhouses in the St. Charles County, and they're definitely looking to try and prove that which one is better.
And let's right now just get to the Athletic Republic keys to the game here on the Vandalia Bus Lines pregame show. Right now, we kind of know that the North offense is pretty good. 43 points. I think any team will take that. Jack Newcomb had a very good game. And on the running game, Chris Petrell was competent and was really good like he always is. But on the defensive side, it was a different deal. Yeah,
definitely. One thing they need to focus on this week is they need to wrap up more on their tackling for sure, as well as on their special teams.
And then the special teams, too. 2 touchdowns given up by kickoff returns last week. You don't give those up, you might win the game.
Yeah, definitely. If you look at the score of the game, you take away those and a couple minor mistakes, a couple fumbles here or there, and that could be a completely different ball game last week.
And then the offense just keep picking it up because 43 points, you do that against Battle, who's a perennial state contender this year. You can probably do that for the rest of your schedule.
Yeah, the offense, they were pretty good last week. Once again, it's those little mistakes, a couple fumbles. Other than that, though, I think if they just keep it up, they have a really good shot tonight.
And then in terms of just how the week has gone. You were talking to some players during the week. Lots of running.
Yeah, definitely. They were hitting them hard this week with the conditioning after the loss last week.
And tons of hills.
Yeah, tons of hills for sure.
Tons of hills. So right now it is 6:47, 81 degrees, the high 81, the low will be 59. We won't quite get to that during the game tonight. And hopefully that sun gets right under that O'Fallon tree line. We'll be right back on Prepcast.com. Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.
If you're interested in a tour of the beautiful and historic St. Louis area or a charter trip with one of our luxury coaches, Vandalia Bus Lines can get you there. You might be interested in a tour of the lower 48 continental United States or parts of Canada, or maybe a weekend vacation with a group of friends to cheer on the Tigers in Columbia or the Illini in Champaign. Vandalia Bus Lines, the largest fleet in the St. Louis area, 800-542-4287.
Are you looking to get that extra 10%? Reach the next level with Athletic Republic. Athletic Republic is science-based performance sports training, delivering intense, position-specific one-on-one training. Stop working out and start training. Visit your local Athletic Republic training center today. Athletic Republic, where athletes who give 110% get the extra 10%.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here at Zumwalt North. The marching band just finished up Sweet Caroline, but we talked to starting center Nate Rappling this week. Here's his senior spotlight, and we'll be right back.
My name is Nate Rappling. I'm number 63, and I play O-line and D-line. In the off-season, I was constantly in the weight room trying to push myself to get stronger for this season. The best coaching advice I was given was from all my coaches, and it's simple: do your job. My favorite football memory is beating Battle last year in the district championship because it meant a lot and it was a big rival. What I'm looking forward to most this senior year is playing with my brothers and hopefully winning state. The most influential person in my life would probably have to be both my parents because they're some of the most hardworking people I know. After graduation, I'm going to be playing college football. For fun, I like playing Fortnite with my guys. We get lots of dubs. I'm most proud of being a starter since my sophomore year. It was a struggle, but it's really shaped me to the player I am today.
Welcome back, everybody. We are getting set for kickoff here on the Vandalia Bus Lines pregame show. Once again, my name's Tom Hartbeck. I'm alongside Adam Lewis, and our producer is Joey Messenbrink. Cameraman is Gavin Anderson. Once again, shout out to our normal colorman Mike Wagenknecht, who is having surgery this week. That's why we see Adam in the booth. And Adam, this is going to be a good one, and it's kind of a gut check again for Zumwalt North.
Yeah, definitely, and it's going to be a different matchup compared to Battle, who was a run-heavy team. Francis Howell last week against Hickman, they were throwing the ball quite a bit.
And last year, it was kind of a tale of two halves. The first half was rainy in this game, total monsoon, and then North just kind of poured it on.
Yeah, definitely, and, I think that rain definitely helped last year with them being a pass-heavy offense. They threw a couple of pick sixes to Isaiah Hartrip last year, and it really caused them to change their game, but that's not something they're going to have to deal with tonight.
And everything is dry tonight, and right now 80 degrees and sunny here at 6:52. We're still about 9 minutes away from kickoff, but just to talk about a few things, I mean, this game is I'm viewing it kind of as a tipping point for the season. You just got it handed to you by Battle, who you beat handily last year. You beat these guys pretty handily last year, and it's a new day, new team. So what do you kind of have to do to say, hey, we're here?
Well, you really got to flip that switch, and, from talking to the players, they said, from the beginning of practice this week, it's definitely the switch has been flipped for them. They got to come out, they got to hit these guys early, and they got to try and put some points up on the board and get a lead going.
And their big offensive weapons are quarterback Alex Pipes, and then you said it was Taj Gurley.
Yep.
And those are two offensive weapons. They can run the ball, but it's going to be pass, and it's kind of West Coast.
Yeah, very West Coast style. But they love pushing it downfield, too. Very vertical as well.
Howell, as we know, have had some good passers in the past with the Siebenschuh brothers. And Francis Howell, for a long time, has kind of been one of those teams, one of the best teams in the state to not really win a title in recent years.
Yeah, they've definitely, they've always had a lot of consistent success, but they could never just quite make it far enough to win the state championship.
And it's kind of like the same thing with North. It's Class 5 and Class 6, same deal.
Yeah, very similar styles.
So we are going to get set for kickoff. We're about 6 minutes away. We're going to go to a break, and we'll be right back.
It's the geometry teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen and store managers who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the graduate who listens to the league championship game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in Missouri so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the Missouri State High School Activities Association and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Whether you're interested in a tour of the beautiful and historic St. Louis area or a charter trip in one of our luxury coaches, Vandalia Bus Lines can get you there. You might be interested in a tour of the lower 48 continental United States or parts of Canada, or maybe a weekend vacation with a group of friends to cheer on the Tigers in Columbia or the Illini in Champaign. Vandalia Bus Lines, the largest fleet in the St. Louis area, 800-542-4287.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the home opener here for Zumwalt North, just off of Tom Ginnever Drive here in O'Fallon. Once again, my name's Tom Hartbeck alongside Adam Lewis. We are just getting set for the Panthers to take the field. We can kind of see them. They will be clad in green tops with white north side pants, and Howell will have their characteristic yellow and blue tops and all white. Starting lineups for North on offense, it's going to be Deshaun Williams, Sam Davis, Nate Rappleen, Spencer Steinmeier, and Brandon Mahoney. They will alternate between right guard and right tackle. At the wide receiver spots, it's going to be Tyler Oakes, Rob Rezix, Futrell, and Chris Raquel will also double there. The wideout spot again, Bobby Maris, Cam Bryant, Jeremiah Dickerson. Starting at running back is going to be Chris Futrell. And the starting kicker is Davis Herbst, and behind center will be Jack Newcomb. And kind of hinges tonight on how Jack Newcomb can perform, because if the offense rolls here, Adam, I really think they have a good chance. And here come the Panthers. Like I said, Jack, if he can really find his rhythm, it's really going to help the offense.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that was one thing I think he did pretty well last week, especially with it being his first game starting at the quarterback position. He definitely started to find it later on, so now hopefully here in week 2 he can get it, right from the jump instead of having to lean into it a little bit.
And we're getting set for the coin toss. Coin toss captains is number 63, Nate Rappleen, and for Howell, number 4, that's going to be Gus Hetzel. Hetzel, a very good safety and a wide receiver as well. They have a wide receiver core that is probably top, at least in the county.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and, it's a great reason for them to throw the ball. They've got a ton of weapons lined up outside. They're great route runners. They got great speed, height, weight, everything.
How do these two games, the battle game and this game this week, really check you in for the season?
Well, if you look at the North schedule, later on in the year, you would say that it starts to get a little bit weaker. Mm-hmm. So playing some of these tougher opponents early on, it's definitely, it's a good way for them to get ready for the rest of the season, later on in the playoffs, things like that.
And they've got Timberland next week. Timberland, never a small team, but they normally don't have the ability that the first two do.
Yeah, definitely. I would say they're always a bigger team for sure, especially up front, but they usually don't have the weapons that teams like Battle and Francis House seem to have.
And this will really make North kind of get checked up for the district, which is really what matters.
Yeah.
So we are getting set for kickoff. North will receive the opening kick, as they did last week, try and score first, which they did not, but they did stay in the game really throughout the first half.
Yeah, they definitely, I think they stayed in it very well. They actually had the opportunity a couple times, really jump out and take a lead, but once again, it was just those little mistakes of fumbles and stuff that they really need to try and work on.
So, as the clock ticks down here at 6:59, we are approaching 7 o'clock, 79 degrees. The low tonight, 59. We may hit that, but it's probably going to stay in the 60s. No rain in the forecast, not a cloud in the sky. The sun is just about ready to hit the trees. And it's a good thing the Panthers have those white numbers, because if not, this time of day, it would be tough to see. So, going back deep as we conclude the Vandalia Bus Lines pregame show is Jeremiah Dickerson, Tyler Oakes, and Chris Futrell. And to kick for Howell, setting up, is Josh Deal. Everybody's set, social distancing, masks and all. And it's home game number 1 for the Panthers. Can they get back to 500 at 1-1? We'll wait and see. Deal waiting for the cue from the white hat. And we got a technical difficulty here in the press box. So waiting for that to be resolved. This kickoff really kind of would set North up. I know they have the ability to run them back. They did one last year. Tyler had one called back last week. That was kind of a dagger.
Yeah, definitely. The time of the game when that happened, they were thinking they were getting a touchdown to even up the game a little bit, and they ended up pulling it all the way back and having to march all the way across at least the halfway point of the field. It was definitely killer for them.
Yeah, it was kind of a momentum swinger, and it really kind of hurt the team going forward. But that was last week. We turn a page. Now it is Francis Howell who is next on the list. Howell High, not too far from here on the other side of Highway 40. Not too far from the old nuclear site. As the band starts to roll the drums, here we go. Deal the kick. It is deep and into the end zone for a touchback caught by Tyler Oaks. So take over from the 20. First and 10, and Jack Newcomb will have his first snap under center as a starting quarterback here at home. And he's got big shoes to fill because there was a lot of points scored at home last year.
Yeah, definitely. Not only last year, but the previous years. North has always had some very talented quarterbacks that run through the system, and he's got he's got a lot of expectations to live up to, but he's also got the skill to do it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not have the speed, but he definitely has the arm. And we'll see how he can fare tonight. Newcomb comes out with 4 wide receivers in the shotgun spread. Pistol. Man in motion is Rezix to the far side. It is a handoff to Rezix. Gets through, and let's say give him 5.
Yeah, and that's going to be another thing for the Panthers this week with the spread offense. They're really going to try and want to set that edge with the O-line, and they're going to try and get out there with their speed.
And that time they almost got to the edge, but then Rezix was able to kind of shimmy through a gap and get a nice easy gain. Clock continues to run. 2nd down and 5 from the 25-yard line. Out wide is Bobby Maris to the near side. Then Rezix. Then Oaks is the slot man, and out far is Dickerson. Man in motion, Oaks. And a flag on the play. A lot of times if you don't execute that move, it is false start on the offense.
Yeah, definitely. And, that's another thing we were talking about is little mistakes that they've got to be able to tighten up on. And, not knowing the snap count's definitely one of them.
So 2nd down and 10 from the 20. That negates the initial gain by Rezix. So again, Maris, Rezix, Oaks, and Dickerson. In the backfield, Chris Futrell. Newcomb calling signals. Man in motion, Oaks. Keeper, he looks, tries to throw. He tries to get back to the line of scrimmage, and he'll be sacked. Call it no gain and no loss. 3rd down and 10 from the 20. 10:50 to go. Looked like a broken play there.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like they were setting up to pass more of like a play-action style, but something just wasn't quite right in the backfield.
So, same formation. Sam Davis gives a little encouragement to Jack in the backfield before he gets set. And now they are set. Back to pass Newcomb. Looking far side. Has Dickerson. Incomplete.
Yeah, he threw that one just a little too high to the outside, and Jeremiah just couldn't quite come down with that one.
So this brings up 4th down. 10:22 to go here in the first quarter. Checking into the game, the new number 8, that's Chris Raquel. And North will punt. 2 returners back deep. They get it off. Short punt. Only goes to about the 40.
Yeah, just barely. It looked like they almost got that one blocked in the backfield. 10:18
to go. Looks like he kind of just missed it on his foot.
Yeah, definitely. But having that pressure coming in from his backside, I'm sure he felt that pressure coming, and it caused him to fumble it a little bit before getting the kickoff.
That's why punters and kickers are normally the second or third highest paid guys on the team in the NFL. So out comes Alex Pipes. The quarterback for Francis Howell. In his backfield is Dane Mormon. A lot of passing. And we're set. So Howell comes out in the shotgun. Basic shotgun. Ace. It is a handoff and a pitch to the outside. Fake. Play action pass. First play incomplete.
They definitely had the North defense fooled on that one.
They had me fooled on that one. I was looking at a run the whole way until I said, well, there's no way he's got the ball.
Yeah, it was a lot of trickery for the first play of the game, but they just couldn't quite come down with the catch.
Ten to go here in quarter number 1. Second down and 10 from the 34. Pipes and Mormon in the backfield. Hetzel on the far side. Handoff to Mormon. Doesn't get much. And that's kind of a big break that ball was incomplete.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you talk about trying to strike early. Right there, first play, that would have been a crazy way to start the game for Francis Howell.
9:50 to go here in quarter number 1. 3rd and 8, ball on the 32. You're kind of in no man's land with the punt. A sack here would be very good. Petrell lines up on the inside. Here he comes. Here comes Monty again. They throw, and that one is incomplete. Good defense that time by Bobby Maris, it looks like.
It's actually Robert Rezek's coming up to lay the hit on the wide receiver. I believe it was Hetzel.
Yeah, it was Rezek who made the hit, and then Maris was also in on the play. A lot of times you're getting two guys on a receiver in this North defense. 4th and 8. No man's land for punt, so they'll go for it. Pipes. Pipes shows trips to the near side. Defense pinches in the 4-3. Back to passes Pipes. He looks, he throws, incomplete, intended for Hetzel. And the Panthers make a nice stand and will take over on down.
Yeah, that's a great first defensive stop for the Panthers here. Something they didn't quite do against Battle last week, and, it's a great way to start off this game here.
And I noticed one thing. They were running the 4-3 there for a second.
Yeah, they did. That's something I've really never seen them do before,
yeah,
quite honestly. But, sometimes you got to change. You got to adapt to the players that you have in your system.
1st and 10, ball on the 32. Jack Newcomb comes out. Try it again. Both offenses go 3 and out on their first drive. Basically gaining 12 yards on the play. Handoff Petrell trying to shake through. He does a little bit, and let's say give him 4.
And he was very close to breaking that one for a pretty decent gain, but somebody was just able to wrap him up at the ankles at the last second.
So they actually give him 5 on the play. So 2nd and 5, ball on the 37. Petrell had to fix his shoe. He's got really cool shoes, those bright green.
Yeah, they definitely fit with the color scheme.
Oh, yeah,
well.
they do. 4 wide receivers. And in motion, Robert Rezek to the far side. Delayed handoff. Rezek trying to get around the corner, and let's say give him 2 or 3. He'll be short by about 2.
And one of the things the Panthers always want to focus on with their offense is they want their receivers to block just as good, if not better, than their linemen. And, right there you see Rezek had to try and force it up a little bit because Oaks wasn't quite able to hold on to his block at the edge. But if he was able to, Rezek had a lot of room to the far side.
3rd and 2. Ball on the 40. 8:30 to go here in quarter number 1. The safety's going to match up with both slotmen in this formation. It is a handoff to Oaks. First down. And move the chains. Oaks kind of had to use a scamper ability there for a second.
Yeah, definitely. But that's something they love, once again with the spread offense. They love trying to get the guys the ball and get them going in different directions, rather it's between the tackles, outside, right up the middle. So it'll be interesting.
I've always tried to figure out what offense North is close to, and I've always kind of thought it was Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that's actually one of their biggest comparisons, actually.
Inside. Back to pass. Looking. Floats it deep into double coverage. Caught by Bobby Maris. 20, 15, 10. And he's pulled out at the 7-yard line.
Right there. There it is. Jack Newcomb, people say he might not have the speed, but he sure has the arm talent to back it up.
Oh, yes. And he's got speed to get maybe like 7 yards of play, and who would argue with that? You know?
Yeah, definitely. But, it's just not quite the elusiveness that
Cairo was.
He's not breaking 80 to 90-yard plays every game.
And what's nice is he doesn't really have to, quote-unquote, live up to Cairo because he's a different kind of player.
Definitely. And Francis Howell actually just had a personal foul on the play. It was a face mask.
Oh, we didn't even catch it. We were so excited.
So that'll move him up a little further here as well.
1st and goal from the 4. So out to the far side, Chris Raquel. Then you've got Oaks, Rezix, and Maris. Hand off, Betrell, touchdown, Panthers!
And a great first drive for the Panthers here. One thing that they love to have is, consistent drives where they're able to kill some of the time on the clock, and they did just that.
And the big play to Bobby Maris, that was kind of all right, we're getting on our horse a little bit, shake it off.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things we were talking about, how they've got to, adapt and adjust to the players they have, and it definitely seems like they're interested in throwing the ball a little more with Jack at quarterback.
Being only 5'7", the quote of the week from Coach Bacon was that he was a warrior. And I kind of made me think, Doug Flutie, Drew Brees, under 6-foot quarterback, as that kick is up and good. Panthers take the lead, 7-0. And we'll go to a break.
Looking to get that extra 10%. Reach the next level with Athletic Republic. Athletic Republic is science-based performance sports training, delivering intense, position-specific, one-on-one training. Stop working out and start training. Visit your local Athletic Republic training center today. Athletic Republic, where athletes who give 110% get the extra 10%.
Welcome back, everybody. Panthers just scored 7-0. Big play by Jack Newcomb to hook up with Bobby Maris, and then a nice easy scamper by Chris Vitrell to make it 7-0. 7:45 to go here in quarter number 1. That's exactly what the Panthers wanted to do.
Yeah, definitely. One of the keys of the game is we needed their offense to keep rolling, and that's exactly what they're doing here.
And they've tightened up on D. The only drive for Francis Howell, they went 3 and out. So far, checking all the boxes. To kick is Davis Herbst. Oaks, then Raquel on the wings on the near side of the special teams. Kick is deep. Not deep enough. Fielded at the 6. Going up the middle far side. He got through to the 30, to the 40, and Tyler Oaks wraps him up. Touchdown saving tackle at the 45.
And that's one thing that if the Panthers want to have a chance to really win this game and handily, not by a couple points, is they're going to have to tighten up on those special teams.
What's the key to that, really? I mean, I know you were a lineman, probably didn't play a whole lot of special teams, but, I mean, when you're trying to block on a kickoff like that, it's just kind of run down and pick them up, right?
That's exactly what it is. Every player's got a lane, and they've got to fill their lane, and if somebody doesn't fill their lane, they get too far out or too in tight. That's what causes those lanes to open up, and they can take them for touchdowns or 50 to 60-yard gains.
So Pipes sets up in Panther territory at the 45-yard line. Hand off to Mormon, tries to get around the corner. Keeper by Pipes, actually, to the far side. And he got around Rezix. He's down to the 10. And out of bounds, it looks like.
And definitely here, Pipes showing some athleticism. I think that's something that was kind of underrated and not really talked about with him.
Oh, yeah, and he's maybe normally a passer, but he certainly is shifty for his size.
Yeah, he's definitely got a scramble factor to him.
So he gets down to the 11. I was totally fooled. I thought Mormon had that. Talk about selling a PA. Now North comes out in the 3-4. Man in motion to the far side. Hand off Mormon. Gets around the corner. Will he get through? He's down to the 5.
And a decent job by Chris Futrell there on the edge. He's definitely got to try and work and hold that edge just a little bit longer so he's got time for his safeties and the rest of his teammates to come and help Phil and make the play.
2nd and 4 at the 5. I've always kind of been a proponent that the 3-4 really is a little suspect at the run. Handoff Mormon up the middle. They clog the hole. Here comes the push. Ball comes out, and North has it. It's Chris Futrell. Ball came out in the push, and Chris Futrell picks it up. Panthers will take over from about the 9.
It was pretty hard to see who exactly got their hand in there to rip that one out, but it was pretty obvious that Chris was the one who came out with it. So
yeah. That is a break. There's 2 breaks so far in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Francis Howell, their offense came out a little more fired up that drive, and, you know, a turnover is huge for the Panthers in this situation.
So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 5. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of sweep runs to get some room between the Panthers and their goalpost shadow. Now in the backfield for North is going to be DJ Jones. Hand off to Jones. And it's a pitch out to Oaks somehow. And he gets maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, and that was a very confusing-looking play right there. It didn't seem like it quite developed the way that they wanted it to.
No, it looked like it was supposed to be a designed handoff to Jones, and then just somehow he just saw that Tyler Oaks was there, unguarded, and just flipped it to him. Another broken play, but they put a few more yards in between them and the goal line. 2nd down and 8, ball on the 7 with 6:10 to go.
And with the Panthers running trips here to the wide side, expect for Jack to roll out here.
Near side. And it's Newcomb, has a hole. Newcomb to the 20. Newcomb down to the 25 and a 1st down. You were right. You were right.
Yeah, definitely. That was a great run by Jack. The midline option play, he was able to just pull it, break a tackle, and he was able to run up, get a pretty decent gain. And, Coach Bacon was talking about his heart. You see there he tried to lower his shoulder and try and run through some guys instead of necessarily trying to slow down and make a move.
Yeah, being so small, I mean, I've talked to a few small football players. You have to be so much stronger if you don't have the height.
But definitely being shorter could also help you because you have that leverage advantage.
Oh, yeah.
So going up against some of those taller guys, you've got that lower center of gravity. It's a lot harder for them to bring you down.
Yeah. And last year playing as a wide receiver, Jack, didn't make a huge impact on the offense. He kind of got in the game when it was a blowout or when they didn't want to get Cairo hurt. But he kind of silently said, hey, I can run this offense too. He scrambled in a couple at the end of the games, had a few passes under his belt.
Yeah, and definitely while he was playing a receiver at the varsity level, they would have him repping a little bit at the quarterback spot at the JV level. And I think he proved last year that he definitely can run this offense very well.
5:54 to go here in quarter number 1. 1st down and 10 from the 25. It's Bobby Maris, then Rob Rezix, then Oaks, and Dickerson on the far side. Futrell's back in at running back. Back to pass Newcomb, looking, throwing, gets it out to Bobby Maris, who tiptoes the sideline and give him a small gain. If you get 5 yards of play, I don't think Coach Bacon's going to complain about that.
Yeah, definitely. With the offense, we aim for at least 3 yards of play. You're moving the chains, every 3 or 4 plays. But 5 yards of play, definitely. You can't complain about that.
5:42 to go, 2nd down and 5 from the 30. Now trips to the far side this time. Hand off Futrell. And give him the 1st. Futrell really didn't get a whole lot of touches last year so much.
Yeah, he definitely didn't get as many touches, for sure as he would have liked to have. But, with the weapons that they had, with Cairo and Isaiah, it was, it's kind of hard to spread the ball out, evenly when you have 3 guys, with so much skill like that.
I thought Oaks sometimes could have been a running back. 4 wide receivers. Rezix in the motion. Reverse play. Oaks to the 40, into the secondary 50, and ducks out of bounds.
And give credit to Sam Davis, the pulling guard on that play. Gets a huge block on number 8, the outside linebacker for Francis Howell, and that leaves a lane for Tyler Oaks to cut up the middle and get the first down.
Oaks a very good runner. He's had a few long run that go for touchdowns. Games against, I believe, Timberland last year, Parkway Central. That was a great game, the Central game.
Yeah, definitely, for the Norse offense at least.
4 wideouts, 2 each side. Man in motion, Rezix. Now back to pass, Newcomb. Gets underneath, and a caught by Bobby Maris.
And one thing you'll notice with this base cover 3 defense that Francis Howell runs, you're going to see a lot of these quick little hitch routes, quick little out routes, easy for them to pick up 5 to 8 yards a gain. And, the DBs are playing off in that cover 3, so there's a lot of separation, a lot of room there.
Awesome. And just getting those short little passes, that's all they really need to do.
Yeah, like you said, you're getting 5 yards of play. You can't really complain about it. You're moving the chain, killing the clock.
Same formation. Rezix. It is Newcomb trying to get to the first down line, and he's going to be a hair short. And let's say he's short by 1. Ball on the 39 with 4:20 to go here in quarter number 1. If you're just joining us, 7:21. My name's Tom Hartbeck. I'm alongside Adam Lewis. Our producer today is Joey Messenbrink. Cameraman is Gavin Anderson. North moving the ball here. Keeper by Newcomb. Will he get to the line? That's going to be close. North says they have it.
Yeah, this one's very close.
I don't know. To me, it looked like he might have been a hair short, but they're going to give it to him. So first down, North. And right now, perfect time to be watching football. Right now, 79 degrees. The sun has just started to go down, just peeking through the trees ever so slightly. It's what they call golden hour. 1st and 10 from the 37. 3:50 to go. Jones in the backfield. Hand off to Rezix. Rezix tries to get around the corner, and he just got tripped up there by number 4, and that was Dane Mormon.
Yeah, and there again we talk about, the blocking on the edge. Mormon's just able to get off the block of Tyler Oaks, and he's able to stop that play. He's able to keep it at a gain of 2 or 3 instead of, 5 or 6, 7.
3:25 to go here in quarter number 1. Panthers offense feeling a little bit more comfortable than they did versus Battle. Out comes DJ Jones. Very traditional style running back who likes to get down in that 3-point stance. Back to pass, Newcomb. Gets a nice block. Moves up in the pocket. Throws it. It is caught by Bobby Maris on the sideline.
And you talk about the heart of Jack Newcomb once again, being able to stay in the pocket, take a hit, and, able to deliver a pass out to Bobby Maris. You get a great pickup.
I did think Jack had nice poise in the pocket. I mean, he took a couple of hits last weekend. I watched on the tape once we got it from our streaming service, and I just said, well, he got hit a few times and he got back up. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely that, that warrior effect to him.
And looks like the Panthers are going to move it back after a hold. Ineligible receiver downfield. So move it back. 2nd and short. Now 13. 2nd and 13, excuse me. 3:03 to go. Bunch to the far side. Keeper by Newcomb. Rolling to the right side. Gets it out. Incomplete. Tried to loft it over the head for Chris Raquel, and it was incomplete.
Yeah, and we talked about Taj Gurley earlier. Transfer over from O'Fallon Christian. He had some great coverage right there on Chris Raquel. And, was forcing Jack to kind of arc it a little more, and he just couldn't quite put it on target.
3rd and officially 14 from the 40-yard line. 2:55 to go here in quarter number 1. Man in motion. Back to pass, Newcomb looking. Futrell missed his block. Newcomb stays on his feet. Got it off. Intercepted. Picked on the play there by Logan Hornback.
And there was definitely seemed like there was some miscommunication up front with the offensive line there. They really struggled to pick up the blocks on that play.
Yeah, and Futrell, off the play action pass, missed his block for a second and picked it up late, and he was getting pushed back. And then I just thought Newcomb was going to get through, take the sack at that point.
Yeah, sometimes that's something really hard for you to try and tell a quarterback, just take a sack, because everybody's out there. They're always trying to fight for as many yards as they can, but sometimes it might be the smarter thing to do.
2:45 to go here in quarter number 1. Looks like Howell's going to take a quick break, and they're going to try and get the scoreboard underway here. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.com.
If you're interested in a tour of the beautiful and historic St. Louis area or a charter trip in one of our luxury coaches, Vandalia Bus Lines can get you there. You might be interested.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that. So 1st and 10 from the 47. Pipes back to pass. Looking, throwing. This one deep. Incomplete.
Great.
A lot of contact.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a flag coming out. I wonder if it's going to be pass interference. Most likely. It definitely, it was very tight coverage by Kylan Watson out there, but it might have been just a little too much, a little too much clutching and grabbing going on.
And, it was one-on-one. It was kind of odd that the back judge didn't throw the flag, who was right in front of the play. It was the line judge who threw the flag.
Yeah, definitely odd, But maybe he just missed it. Maybe he was looking for something else.
1st and 10 from now the 38. Now they show 4 men on the line. Moorman around the corner, got through, stays on his feet. He's just short. And a flag on the play. Face mask on the defense.
That's a tough break for the Panthers there, getting the pass interference call and then getting a face mask right after that.
Penalties, penalties, penalties. DJ Jones going to check out of the game. And down on the sideline right now, Coach Bacon is talking to Jack Newcomb fairly intently. Pipes, man in motion, Hetzel, flag. Hand off to Hetzel, far side. Hetzel can't get anywhere. In the area of false start or holding, one of the two.
Yeah, definitely. The flag was thrown pretty early. I wonder if it's going to be maybe not a false start. It could have been a holding right off the jump, but.
Illegal shift. A lot of penalties happen between schools from Class 6 and 5. I feel like those two classes just have more penalties called on them.
And specifically the last 3 years, this North and Francis Howell matchup, there's been a crazy amount of penalties.
2nd and 15. Now they say first. Now the scoreboard is correct. And Pipes gets through, falls down, but give him about 6.
And the North player lost their helmet on that one. I believe it's Spencer Steinmeier running off the field.
And he's got to come off for one play.
DJ Jones will go in to replace him at middle linebacker.
Same thing with Kylan Watson coming out. 2nd and 7, ball in the 22. Pipes back to pass, rolling far side, looking, caught by Hetzel, flag.
And that was one of the things we talked about earlier with Hetzel. You know, he's such a threat lining up at the X position, and he can make plays anywhere on the field. Very athletic, you know, he's very tall. He can also jump very well. So he can get up there and make some plays that most people just can't.
And they're going to wave the flag off. So Hetzel just keeps his feet in bounds. That's 1st and goal from the 9. .129 to go here in the first quarter. 7-0 our score. Howell on the march. Here comes the blitz. Pipes into the end zone. Touchdown.
In that drive, it definitely seems like Francis Howell, they were able to change some things up, and you know, they were starting to push the ball down North's throat there a little bit.
It kind of looked like the North offense from last year.
Yeah, definitely. You know, a lot of runs up the middle, some option plays with the quarterback and the running back. And, you know, a lot of teams, you know, battling now Francis Howell, you know, they're doing very good at running the ball right off the edge and right in between the gaps, you know, of this North defense.
1:24 to go. 7-6 is our score. This to tie it. Up and good. So 7-7 our score. We will go to a break and we'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.com. Welcome back, everybody. 7-7 is our score. 1:24 to go here in quarter number 1. Howell just marched down the field and ate up a lot of clock. But North could do it again. The kick is deep. Fielded by Futrell at the 5. Futrell to the far side. Futrell got through. Futrell can't get through the last line of defense. Gets down to the 30. Decent return. Almost had it.
Yeah, very close. You know, taking it right up the middle. He was able to break a tackle off and, you know, push a little more, put a little further up. However, they were just able to wrap him up.
1:18 to go. 1st and 10 from the 29 officially. Newcomb comes out with Maris, Rezix, Oaks, and Dickerson. Futrell beside him. And 2 men moved. Flag on the play. Miscommunication between Oaks and Rezix.
Yep, it's going to be an illegal shift on the offense, and that's another thing. You know, their offense is, you know, they're pretty consistently well, but it's a lot of these little mental mistakes that are going to cost them.
So there's 5 yards back. As soon as Rezix moved, there's the penalty. It looked like Oaks was the man who was supposed to move. So timeout taken by Joe Bacon. We'll take one as well, and we'll be right back on Prepcast.com.
To get that extra 10%. Reach the next level with Athletic Republic. Athletic Republic is science-based performance sports training, delivering intense, position-specific, one-on-one training. Stop working out and start training. Visit your local Athletic Republic training center today. Athletic Republic, where athletes who give 110% get the extra 10%.
Welcome back, everybody. 7-7 our score. North back on offense. And Coach Bacon probably taking a gut check timeout.
Yeah, definitely. He's sitting there. He's trying to get on these guys a little bit, telling them to focus up, trying to really get them to regroup and calm down so they can start making the right plays out there.
1st and 15 from the 24. Sweet Caroline. Good to see the band back in the stands, or at least at the game. 4 wide receivers for Jack Newcomb. Rezik's the man in motion. Reverse play to Oaks. Oaks around the outside to the 30. Oaks to the 40. Oaks to the 50. Oaks got through, and let's say down to the 45.
And once again, a great job by the Zumwalt North offensive line to really set that edge, both with Sam Davis and I believe that was Spencer Steinmeier at the right tackle position as well.
And Oaks got down to the 35 that time. I misspoke. 1:02 to go. Nice big play. Then that play went for big gains against Battle, and it went for now Howell. It's really hard to stop.
Yeah, you'll notice that play usually goes for some pretty big gains almost every game.
1st and 10 from the 36 officially. Handoff Petrell. Got through into the secondary to the 20, to the 15. Pushed out right before the 10.
This is definitely going to be a time where you're going to see the Panthers, just trying to get on the ball, get the plays going, keep the momentum up while they've got this Francis Howell defense down a little bit.
And this would give us nice momentum heading to quarter number 2. 55 seconds to go. First down showing from the 11. Right on the top of the area, as they would say, as we now have to get accustomed to soccer lingo here in the St. Louis area. Trips to the far side. Here comes the blitz. Rezix hits the hole. Give him 2.
Yeah, one thing this Howell defense does very well, when North has a man come in motion, they'll usually rotate one of their safeties over and bring the other one down ahead of the motion, and they did it right there, and he was able to help come in and make the tackle.
Timeout on the field, it looks like. I saw the white hat wave his hands. And checking in, who is 19? Is Braden Miller, as somebody I think was bleeding on the north side. Handoff Petrell. Give him a gain of 6, as that will probably be the end of the first quarter unless they go quickly and get a playoff. Rezix checks back in. Here comes DJ Jones. 5 seconds. And looks like that's going to be it. So, end of 1, 7-7. Not too bad. We'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.com.
Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Missouri. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Missouri State High School Activities Association and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back, everybody. 7-7 our score here at the start of quarter number 2. My name's Tom Hartbeck. I'm alongside Adam Lewis. North trying to punch one in. 3rd and 5. Ball on the 6. Officially, they can get a first down. 4 wideouts, 2 each side. Man in motion is Oaks. Oaks hits the hole. He's in. Touchdown, Panthers.
And one thing we were talking about, for the earlier part of the first quarter is, the blocking on the edge from the slots and the wide receivers out there. And that was definitely, well executed right there by Robert Rezix. So Tyler Oaks getting the end zone right there.
And Oaks loves to run the ball. Herbst to kick. 11:56 to go here in the half. Here comes Deshaun Williams into the game. Now to kick. Snap back, ball down, kick up. Right down Broadway, 14-7 is our score, 11:56 to go. We'll be right back on Prepcast.com.
If you're interested in a tour of the beautiful and historic St. Louis area or a charter trip in one of our luxury coaches, Vandalia Bus Lines can get you there. You might be interested in a tour of the lower 48 continental United States or parts of Canada, or maybe a weekend vacation with a group of friends to cheer on the Tigers in Columbia or the Illini in Champaign. Vandalia Bus Lines, the largest fleet in the St. Louis area, 800-542-4287.
Welcome back, everybody. 14-7 to the good guys. Man, it's a nice night for football. And right now would be the time the Panthers should take over the game. It would be great if they could get a defensive stop here.
This is definitely, the point in the game where if you're a Panthers fan, you would like to see them, get another huge stop here, preferably on special teams as well. And then if they're able to put some more points on the board before we get into the second half of the game, Francis Howell definitely, they probably don't feel as good about the game coming out of halftime.
Fourteen to 7. Herbst sets it on the tee at the 40. Now to kick. It's deep. And out of bounds. Illegal procedure on the kicking team. So they'll take over from the 35. And really, and you kind of said this before the game, North is really good at stopping their own offense. This is a pretty similar offense to North. How do you normally clog that middle for those play-action read option plays that North ran so much last year?
Well, one of the biggest things is the nose guard. He's got to try and hold his ground no matter if he's getting double-teamed or not. At the worst case, he's got to be able to just fall and create a pile there so there's not a big lane.
So Mormon got through, short of the first.
As well as the middle linebackers definitely need to come up. They need to get extension on those guards. And they need to try and rip off and make the tackle right at the line instead of sitting back and letting them. They don't want to let the running back come to them. They want to step up to the line and make the play there.
So right now the nose tackle is Sam Davis, Nate Rappling, Davis, Williams, and Monning. Here comes Monning off the end. Big loss if he gets it off, and Pipes just throws it away. Futrell had a deadbeat on him.
Yeah, that's one thing. He didn't take the best angle to get out there and really cut him off. He kind of came under and had to chase him a little bit, and that's one thing that they want to look to tighten up for.
3rd and 3 from the 42, 11:20 to go. Pipes was out in no man's land. If you get pressure on him, that's going to affect his game. Consistent pressure. So Futrell comes in to play outside linebacker on the far side. Monning to the near. Handoff, Pipes, and wrapped up by both outside linebackers. Have that sack between Parker Monning, Nate Rappling, who comes out of the pile, and Chris Futrell. 4th down and 3. They are in a punting situation, and that's what they'll do.
Yeah, and that was a great play by Parker Mining on the backside there to really stay close to the line. He didn't get too far upfield. He's able to come down and make the tackle.
Back deep is Bobby Maris. Fourth down and 7. Ball on the 38, 10:40 to go here in quarter number 2. Punt is high. It is deep end over end. Caught by Maris at the 25, got through, and falls forward in between the 35 and the 40. 13 yards. And you were saying you hadn't seen a whole lot of Deshaun Williams since last year, but it looks like he's slimmed down a bit.
Yeah, he's gotten into the weight room a lot more. Looks like he's lost about 20 pounds or so, I would say.
Yeah. And with his height, sometimes that helps, sometimes that hurts, but he's playing. 14-7, 10:29 to go. 1st and 10 from the 39 for Zumwalt North. Man in motion, Oaks. Keeper by Newcomb. Newcomb got through. Newcomb into the secondary. Foot race. There's a flag, and it's down to the 25.
We could only assume that this flag is going to be coming back against the Panthers.
Holding, but it was thrown late. Does he get the first? Looks like he'll at least be close because the hold occurred downfield.
Yeah,
Yes.
that flag was definitely thrown very late into the play.
So it is good enough for a first down. So put it at the 50-yard line. That's a call you don't see a whole lot. A hold way downfield.
Yeah, and we were talking about it earlier. These games between Francis Howell and Zumwalt North have a lot of them.
Hand off, Futrell. Give him 4 or 5. And that ticks under 10 now. It's been a pretty quick game, 7:48. Remember, last week we were just probably ending the first quarter.
Yeah, the first half almost lasted until 9:30 or 8:30, I believe.
Yeah, we didn't actually leave that beautiful facility out there at Battle till almost 11.
Yeah, that was a long night last week.
Oh, yeah. 2nd down and 7 from the 47-yard line. They officially gave Chris Futrell 3 on the play. Back to pass. Looking. Caught. He's got Chris Raquel. Give him a nice gain.
Yeah, it's a great catch by Chris on the outside here. It's going to bring it up to a 3rd and manageable. Definitely look for this play to be something in between the tackles.
So you think they're running?
I would say so.
3rd and 3. You can't gain 3 yards. You don't deserve to be champions. That's what Vince Lombardi said in the Ice Bowl. 9:25 to go here in quarter number 2. Man in motion is Oaks. To the far side. Handoff. And he is stuffed. They knew that play was coming.
Yeah, Futrell's definitely, a weapon in the backfield, and most of his plays are right up the middle. So when you get into those close situations, you can kind of expect it's going to be something to him or either Jack, and it's going to be very close in between, right up behind the center. It's going to be right off the tackle somewhere.
Now 4th and 2, clock's still running. You're in that no man's land of punting, so.
And they leave Jack Newcomb at the quarterback spot, so it looks like they're going for it here.
Keeper Newcomb gets it out to Oaks. Can he get around the corner? First down and more. Into the secondary, down the sideline. Touchdown, Panthers. What a run. Tyler Oaks, call it 45 yards.
And there's a lethal speed from Tyler Oaks. He's able to hit that edge, and when it gets to a foot race down the sideline, not many people can catch him.
Gone. There's that break in the game we wanted. 20-7. And there's that offense we wanted to see. 8:37 to go here in quarter number 2. Herbst to kick. Snap back, ball down, kick up. And it's good. So 21-7, North has a 2-touchdown lead. We'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by PrepCats.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
What makes high school sports here in Missouri so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
This message presented by the Missouri State High School Activities Association and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back, everybody. 21-7 is the score as North just broke off a beautiful run on 4th down by Tyler Oakes. Probably the run of the year so far, but it certainly probably won't be the last. 8:37 to go here in quarter number 2. If you're just joining us, my name's Tom Hartbeck. I'm alongside Adam Lewis. Joey Messenbrink's our producer today, and Gavin Anderson is our stalwart man on the camera. Herbst back to kick. Back deep. They got 2 back deep for Francis Howell. Pooch kick. Bouncing ball. And they stopped him. That was a smart little play.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about how their special teams needs to tighten up a little bit. And maybe with them kicking it deeper, you know, for the return man to actually, you know, get under it, get some blockers in front of him. Maybe that's just not the way that they can cover it. So they got to resort to these little pooch kicks here down the middle.
And in high school, you just see that a whole lot. You know, there's kickers who can't kick very well. There is, but then again, I stand corrected. There's kickers who kick it back into the end zone every time. But when you can't block a whole lot, that's one way to solve it. Clog it up. Trips to the near side for Alex Pipes as he comes out with 8:34 to go here in quarter number 2. 1st and 10 from his own 26-yard line. Linebackers pinch in. Here comes Mounting off the edge. Mormon got through. Mormon is stopped, but got the first.
That was a really good run by Mormon. He was able to meet the safety in the gap, and he was able to give it to him, fall forward for the first down.
They gave him 12 on the play. Inside linebackers are Eddie Angelbeck, Spencer Steinmeier, and then DJ Jones alternates in and out. The nose tackles are Brendan Mahoney and Deshaun Williams. Back to pass, looking, caught in the flat, and a nice tackle. That time by Kylan Watson.
Yeah, it was a really good tackle. You know, he did a great job breaking on the ball, you know, playing with that soft coverage. You know, you give up a lot more, but he was able to come down and make a great tackle and prevent him from getting much more.
2nd down and 4 from the 44-yard line. 7:50 to go. Back to pass, Pipes looking, got through, and then wrapped up. Brendan Mahoney.
And that was pretty hard to tell. I couldn't tell if that was a broken play or if that was a design QB draw.
Looked like it was designed, and then Mahoney ripped off his block. So 3rd and 6 from the 42. Pipes still with trips to the near side. Jalen Lee and Rezix back off, and then a flag. Offside on the defense, so now 3rd and 1. Third and short.
And even though the distance moved up, they still come out with that trips formation to the wide side of the field.
Pipes keeping it. Gets around the corner. Into the defense.
And right there we talked about the Panthers' defense off the edge. That defensive end really needs to help Chris set the edge right there. Chris's man on that play is the option, not the quarterback, but the running back. So if he tries to come down and make a tackle on the quarterback, they're just going to be able to pitch it outside anyways.
1st and 10 from the 36. 7 minutes to go here in quarter number 2. 21-7 is the score. Here comes the bull rush. He got it off and caught for the first down. That was Jackson Hetzel.
Francis Howell's offense seems like they're starting to build a little bit of momentum here, both running the ball and passing. So we got to see what North can do here to really shut them down.
Well, the only thing you almost can do is play man D and hope you get a push. Monning lining up on the near side edge. Futrell on the outside. Davis is the nose guard. Here come the linebackers. Pipes got through, but then he was tripped up by the ankles by Rappling.
Right there, we talked about that little option play to the outside. Chris did his job, and he got his man, the running back, and Nate was able to come off and make the tackle on the quarterback right there. And that's how this North defense is going to be able to shut down those quick plays to the outside.
Now they come out showing man D. 2nd and 10. Pipes back to pass, looking in the flat. And Jalen Lee got a hand on it.
And back to what you were saying about running that man D, that's something that this North defense loves to do.
Mm-hmm.
They love to run man, get up in your face, get real physical with it, and that's why, unfortunately you see a lot of the pass interference calls on them. However, when those aren't being thrown, they're definitely playing some good defense.
3rd and 10 from the 21. Holding Howell to a field goal here would be a nice achievement. 3rd and 10. Back to pass Pipes. Incomplete. Almost a penalty there called on Kylan Watson.
Yeah, it was a great break, but, at some point you got to let up when he doesn't have the ball and they blow the whistle. He's real lucky he didn't get one right there.
Yeah, because, he kept pushing.
Yeah, he definitely followed through all the way with that one.
Of course, you're coached that way, too. 4th and 10 from the 21. And Pipe stays on the field, so they will go. Everybody comes up like they're going to rush. 6:04 to go. Bleachers start a-shaking. Pipes back, looking. End zone. PI. And to me, that looked like Hetzel kind of sold it a little bit. He fell down.
Yeah, I'm sure he did sell a little bit, but definitely Jalen Lee was getting his hands in on him. Just got his feet twisted up a little bit, and it's a pretty obvious PI call right there.
And that'll move the ball up to almost the 5. That's just a bad break. Jalen, though, Hetzel's just got the height on him.
He definitely has the height on him, yeah. But Jalen, he's a very skilled man out there. They say they put him out there on his island, and for the most part, he does a really good job shutting down.
Half the distance to the goal, so it is 1st and 10 from the 11. First and 10 for Howell. Zone D, keeper by Pipes. Got a hand on him, and a nice tackle that time by, looks like, Deshaun Williams. He had to rip off his block and then dive backwards.
Yeah, the backside defensive end definitely, he was coming down the line a little bit there. He had to break off a little bit, because Pipes is a pretty fast guy. He was starting to break away from him, but he uses that 6'7" height to his advantage.
Hand off to Mormon. He stopped short.
This is going to be a big test to the North defense, the middle linebackers and nose guard, because Francis Howell right now, they're going to try and push it right up the middle if I had to guess, and that's, a problem that North has had so far, in this early season.
3rd and 1 from the 2. 5 minutes to go here in quarter number 2. Stack the line. Pipes. In for the touchdown. And right now, this whole offense is kind of running through Alex Pipes.
Yeah, he is doing a phenomenal job at running this offense. both styles, both with the scrambling style of it and with the heavy pass style. He's a real dual threat out there.
21-13. Snap back, ball down, kick up. No good. 21-13 is our score. We will head to a break. We'll be right back. Prepcast.com.
Looking to get that extra 10%. Reach the next level with Athletic Republic. Athletic Republic is science-based performance sports training, delivering intense, position-specific, one-on-one training. Stop working out and start training. Visit your local Athletic Republic training center today. Athletic Republic, where athletes who give 110% get the extra 10%.
So then it wouldn't be that big of a problem.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Might have caught a little bit of a conversation between me and Adam. The band is warming up for halftime back behind the bleachers. And, I mean, being in band when I was in high school, we were told never play when the field goal was going to happen. And I guess you can still hear it with this socially distant crowd. Into the end zone, down for a touchback. So 21-13, that missed field goal attempt might be a little sneaky there for Howell.
Yeah, that could definitely be crucial, coming up later into the game.
4:59 to go. Plenty of time for the North offense to score. And right now, I'd just say run it, eat up clock, and get to halftime with the lead.
I'm sure, if they're moving the ball downfield, picking up 3 or 4 yards at a time, that's exactly what Coach Bacon's going to do.
4 wideouts. It is Raquel, then Rezix, then Oaks, then Maris. Oaks in motion. Keeper by Newcomb. Got through. Give him a short gain. .445 to go. Give him 3. 2nd down and 7 from the 23-yard line. Five wideouts. No, excuse me, make it 4. Back to pass Newcomb, looking with time. And that ball got touched 3 or 4 times before it hit the ground.
Yeah, Newcomb there, he was trying to fit it into a very tight gap to Tyler Oaks right there. And, the Francis Howell defenders were able to just get a couple hands on it and break it up.
3rd and 7. Clock stops with 4:21 to go here in the half. Ball on the 23. Third and 7. 4 wideouts. Zone defense. Back to pass. Newcomb looking. No pressure. Throws. Caught. In the flat. Into the secondary. It's Oaks. Oaks gets away to the 50. To the 40. And he's down just past the 40.
And Tyler Oaks with that speed, he's definitely a dual threat out there, both, being able to receive the ball and being able to get it through a handoff. Right there, him streaking right across the middle of the field. No one's able to pick him up, and he's just able to get a ton of yards after the catch right there.
First down, Panthers, and that's going to really help them, especially if they can't get it into the end zone before the half. 3:59 to go. 1st and 10 from the 39. 4 wideouts. Raquel to the near side. Maris to the far side. Throws it into the flat. And that's got to be a flag, and there it comes. That was definitely a defenseless receiver.
And that was a very late throw right there. I'm surprised it didn't come out a lot earlier.
And that is pass interference against the D. Newcomb going to Coach Bacon, getting a signal. So move it forward. First down for the Panthers again from the 24. Big help on the penalty. 3:44 to go here in quarter number 2. It is Raquel, then Oaks, then Rezix, then Maris. Fattrell in the backfield. Man in motion is Rezix. Handoff to Fattrell wasn't too clean. Give him a small gain.
Yeah, and right there it was the play side outside linebacker as well as one of the middle linebackers that they did a real good job of being able to close in and make the tackle right there.
Now they come to the line. Second down and 8. Oaks the man in motion, far side. It is Newcomb who got away, and then he takes the sack. Smart play. Broken play that time, though. Looks like it was intended to be a option, and then they just read it.
Yeah, number 81, he did a great job coming off the edge right there, and he was able to get up in Jack Newcomb's face, force him to make a decision, and he was able to, bring him down for a pretty big loss right there.
So 2:40 now to go. 3rd and 19 on the 33. Timeout. Zumwalt North. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.
If you're interested in a tour of the beautiful and historic St. Louis area or a charter trip with one of our luxury coaches, Vandalia Bus Lines can get you there. You might be interested in a tour of the lower 48 continental United States or parts of Canada, or maybe a weekend vacation with a group of friends to cheer on the Tigers in Columbia or the Illini in Champaign. Vandalia Bus Lines, the largest fleet in the St. Louis area, 800-542-4287.
Are you looking to get that extra 10%? Reach the next level with Athletic Republic. Athletic Republic is science-based performance sports training, delivering intense, position-specific one-on-one training. Stop working out and start training. Visit your local Athletic Republic training center today. Athletic Republic, where athletes who give 110% get the extra 10%.
Welcome back, everybody. We're set. 3rd and 19 from the 33. Oaks the man in motion to the far side. Back to pass, Newcomb. Picks up a block, throws it deep. Incomplete, 4th and 19.
Jack definitely felt the pressure there coming off the edge, but a great job by him to stand in the pocket and deliver a pass. Wasn't quite on target, but still, it shows the poise he has back there.
Now, do you kick or do you go? North normally not a kicking team.
And, well, it looks like they pulled Jack Newcomb off and sent Chris Reckel in, so it looks like they might be punting right here.
Wow. Well, coffin kick it maybe. Or, Raquel going to punt. Try and coffin kick it. Got it off. Into the end zone. That's a little crafty punt, though. I saw what they were trying to do because they got the guys downfield rather quick.
Yeah, and that's what North always tries to do with the quick punt, They always try and show it as being a quarterback just standing back there, and then they take those 2 steps back real quickly and just try and get a quick kickoff, get your receivers downfield.
So 1st and 10, Francis Howell from their own 20. 2:24 to go here in the half. A lot of time for Howell to get back in this one here in this half. But now they show empty backfield. And that time looked like Mahoney moved. Oh, excuse me, not Mahoney. 59, that is, I had it right. Brendan Mahoney. So 1st and 5 from the 25. Five wideouts. Pipes, back to pass, looking. Here comes the rush. He scrambles. He looks. He throws. The flag. It's caught, but that one's going back. Holding against the O.
Yeah, and, except for the holding call coming back, that was a great catch by number 88, Brett Norfleet. He's got an offer from University of Missouri right now.
Yeah, he's big and tall.
Definitely got a lot of talent over there on Francis Howell.
Yeah, they do. They've always been good. I've always thought that in Class 6, one of those St. Louis schools who play in that district that has to go across state, Howell, West, they could always have a shot to win state out there, but they're always in just a slog of a district.
Yeah, and it's been real tough to figure out exactly why they can't put together a state championship win here.
High pass, that one is incomplete. And it's the same thing too. When TJ Moe was at Zumwalt West, you kind of thought West was going to roll, and they came ever so close. If Ryan Hanlon wouldn't have dinged it off of a upright back then, but it's just been a tough one.
Definitely been tough for these St. Charles County teams here trying to put together some hardware.
Yeah, because they have to go across state. Just they normally do because there's so many schools in St. Louis. Pipes got through the hole, but he doesn't get a whole lot. 2 minutes to go. That'll be third down and long. This would be a big stop for Zumwalt North because they'd have plenty of time.
And one thing I could say here with this North defense, we're coming up to a third down here, late in the quarter. I wouldn't be surprised if you see them start to send some pressure here.
The line is the outside linebacker, Monning, then Williams, then Mahoney and Davis. Futrell on the outside. Back to pass, Pipes, fakes again. Throws it deep. Incomplete.
There was a flag down right around the 35-yard line. Looks like it could be against the offense here.
Oh, God. Probably defensive holding. Not long enough for a first. .125 to go here in the half. It's going to be 4th and probably 3. Or replay third down. Yeah, 4th and 8. Zone D. Excuse me, man D. 2 cornerbacks out to the far side. 2 wide receivers to the far side. 3rd and 8 from the 22. 1:25 to go. Big play here in the half. And Brendan Mahoney moved, false start. So that'll make it 3rd and 3. No, walking it back. False start on the offense.
Yeah, the center actually, he picked up the football there without even snapping it. So it's going to be false start on him, moving back.
So 3rd down and 13. Now you know the pass is coming again. Watch the outside. Oaks is out there. Oaks and Dickerson are your cornerbacks. Pipes, back to pass, rolling far side, looking. He's pressured by Futrell. He is sacked. Ball comes out, but he was down. And it'll be 4th and long, punting situation.
And it looked like he ran into his own man right there, and that was what was able to force him to fall down.
Timeout called by Howell. And this is a great break in the game because, 4th down, they're pinned back deep in their own territory. If you can get a nice return on this punt, you've got plenty of time to get another touchdown.
Especially with North's offense because, yes, they have the ability to kill the clock, have longer sustained drives, but they're also very quick hitting at times too.
And the way North will run it, I'm sure we'll see some reverses. We'll see a bunch of sweeps. This is the time you pull out your bag of tricks to try and extend your lead before halftime.
Especially getting a score here would be a dagger.
Especially in the half. And then it's up to your defense. So, Coming out is basically the basic North defense. Oaks is coming in at cornerback, and we've seen him a few times. And I wonder if North suspects something here. 4th and 15. And so now Bobby Maris will go back to receive. Maris will stand in between the 45 and the 50. Bad snap! Bad snap! He got it off, and there's the flag. That's an automatic first down. He roughed the kicker.
And the kicker looks like he's down over there in the end zone. Seems like he's going to be able to try and walk it off here.
And Futrell is beside himself. So are many North players because it was a bad snap, and he still was able to get the kickoff. It's roughing the kicker. Though North, I think, is saying he's not a kicker anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to tell right there. You know, once he bobbles a snap, he starts to take those steps forward.
Yeah,
is he still a kicker or is he a runner?
Well, that's the thing. With these rugby-style punts now, you never know. And to me, he's not a kicker. To me, he's not a kicker. I don't know. What is your interpretation of that?
You know, I think to the point where the rugby-style kick, if he doesn't drop the snap right there, I would say he is still considered a kicker.
Yes, if he doesn't drop the snap, or even if he bobbles the snap and kind of doesn't, field it, but it doesn't hit the ground, he's still a kicker.
Yeah, but to the point where the ball hits the ground, I think at that point you've got to label him as a runner.
Yeah, it's a broken play. Well, 1st and 10, Howell from the 30. 1:04 to go.
Francis Howell also still has all 3 of their timeouts left.
Yes, they do.
So they set themselves up very well to try and put some points on the board right here before the end of the half.
They'd have to go for 2 to tie. 2. They have 2 timeouts left. And now we're getting a talking on the Howell sideline. And now the bleachers come a-shaking, and here we go. False start on the offense.
And here we're still seeing, even though it's week 2, it's early. Both North and Francis Howell seem to have a lot of false starts, encroachment-type penalties, just the little mistakes here and there.
So, 1st and 15 from the 25. Back to pass, Pipes, throws, caught. After the long gain, now make it a flag. Coming in late, 2nd and 4. Sideline infraction on Howell. And another one.
And yeah, if Francis Howell gets another, sideline infraction, they could, their head coach could be kicked out of the game.
Yeah, Coach, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because it is a Polish name. But man, that defense is pumped up.
Definitely seems like the frustration's starting to set in here against Francis Howell.
And it looks, if he gets one more, he's tossed. And it's not they gave him not another sideline infraction, they gave him an unsportsmanlike.
And I believe if he gets another one of those, not only is he kicked out of this game, but he can't be on the sideline for next week's game either.
So, timeout. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.com.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Missouri. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Missouri State High School Activities Association and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back, everybody. 3rd and now 19 from the 21. Ball on the 21-yard line, 49 seconds to go. Here in the first half, it feels like the fourth quarter. Press box is shaking. Back to pass pipes, rolling near side. Here comes the rush. He is wrapped up on the play that time. Trying to see the number. That is 24, DJ Jones.
Great job by Jones, to come off the edge. He's able to engage his blocker in the backfield, get off of them, and wrap up pipes in the backfield.
Timeout taken by North. We will not go to break. That's their 3rd and final. But I certainly wouldn't. I mean, it's only the first half. You don't go for this here. There's no way. Fourth and long from your own 22.
Yeah, I couldn't see them really going for it here either.
No, if they go for it with 32 seconds left and the way North's offense is, that's certainly having a whole lot of confidence in your D.
Well, and even if Francis Howell were to get them to a 3 and out, they're still in field goal range and they're able to extend that lead just a little more.
That's true. And what a crazy turn of events. 2 sideline infractions, and then an unsportsmanlike conduct, presumably all on the Howell head coach.
And that seems to be a common theme here between Fort Zumwalt North and Francis Howell the last couple of years. Just crazy things seem to happen. The first year these two teams squared off, there was one drive where there were like 4 or 5 pass interference calls in a row, like back-to-back. And then obviously with the crazy monsoon that hit last year, and now here again with a lot of penalties going down.
So Brent Chunyaki's going to go for it. Handoff. They'll run. Far side. And he is stopped short. Just barely. So ball down to the 34.
Kind of a shocking play call, to go for a run on 3rd and long like that. However, it worked out for him.
Yeah, 4th down and 5. And they will punt. Jeremiah Dickerson back deep with 34 seconds left. Snap. Kick. End over end. Caught. Far side. Dickerson got out of bounds at the 45-yard line. I apologize, folks. I thought it was 4th down. Looking at the scoreboard, our scoreboard was wrong. So 1st down North with 24 seconds left. What kind of bag of tricks can Coach Bacon pull out here? He doesn't have to score, but he'd like to.
Yeah, he'd definitely like to here, but also I could see them, just running the ball here, killing the clock, getting halftime.
4 wideouts, 3 deep defense. Man in motion, Rezix. Reverse play to Oaks. Got through it. Stopped by Hetzel, and that should be it.
Yeah, Francis Howell definitely read that one coming, after it already being used twice earlier in the game.
So that is going to run out the clock. 21-13 is our score as we head to the locker room We got a good one on our hands, folks. If you're not watching, tune in. We'll be right back in a little while on prepcast.com.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
What makes high school sports here in Missouri so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
This message presented by the Missouri State High School Activities Association and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
If you're interested in a tour of the beautiful and historic St. Louis area or a charter trip in one of our luxury coaches, Vandalia Bus Lines can get you there. You might be interested in a tour of the lower 48 continental United States or parts of Canada, or maybe a weekend vacation with a group of friends to cheer on the Tigers in Columbia or the Illini in Champaign. Vandalia Bus Lines, the largest fleet in the St. Louis area, 800-542-4287.
My name is Parker Monning, number 37, outside linebacker. This offseason, I got some of my seniors together and we went to my house and we made sure we worked hard every day, running, lifting, and just working and doing our best. Best coaching advice is that the only person that controls you is you. You control who you are and what you do to become the best person you can be. My favorite football memory is against Francis Howell Central when I went onto the field for the first time with the starters, and I was able to make some big plays and be able to fully get my start on the varsity field. Going into my senior year, I'm looking forward to being able to play with all my seniors since I've been with since 6th grade year and being able to just perform and show out for this program. The most influential person in my life is Coach Gadizi because he taught me to always work hard no matter what. After high school, I'm going to go to college, get a mechanical engineering degree, and play college football. For fun, I always go down with Dylan Teglow and we go down to Fazoli's and have a good old pasta night. I'm most proud of breaking the state record for most sacks.
Looking to get that extra 10%. Reach the next level with Athletic Republic. Athletic Republic is science-based performance sports training, delivering intense, position-specific, one-on-one training. Stop working out and start training. Visit your local Athletic Republic training center today. Athletic Republic, where athletes who give 110% get the extra 10%.
Welcome back, everybody. My name's Tom Hartbeck. I'm alongside Adam Lewis. It is 21-13, Zumwalt North. Francis Howell will have the ball heading into the third quarter. But, Adam, a little clarification on that crazy punt play that ended up having 2 sideline infractions and then a unsportsmanlike. What they're saying is he didn't make an athletic move to declare himself as a runner.
Yes, and also with not making an athletic move, they say he was holding the ball out in front of him the whole time, making it an intention to kick, whereas if he would have tucked it, then they would have deemed him as a runner, and that penalty would have never happened. Yeah,
that's a very gray area, because you could just say, oh, you're running with the ball, but that's a tough one. We've got about 2 minutes left until we kick off for the second half. But your impressions of the first half, not bad on my end.
Definitely not bad either. No, I agree with that. You know, their offense, I think they did a very good job keeping up with pace. Even I would say performing better than what they were last week. And their defense seemed to be a little stronger too.
And to me, the hole in the defense is just up the middle. For some reason, it just doesn't feel as if that's still really connecting. But Howell's been running to the outside where North has been fine.
Yeah, and, you know, with the passing game as well, you know, Francis Howell's had their moments where they start to pick up some momentum and get some yards through the air. But mainly North has been shutting them down through the passing game.
Yeah, and that's kind of been a saving grace a little bit. So North's going to get hyped up for the second half. 2 minutes till kickoff. We'll be right back on Prepcast.com. Welcome back, everybody. Panther Broadcasting, powered by PrepCast. Once again, my name's Tom Hartbeck alongside Adam Lewis. Our producer today is Joey Messenbrink, and our cameraman is Gavin Anderson as we get set for quarter number 3. 21-13 is the score. North will be kicking to Howell to start the third quarter. Keep doing what you're doing and tighten up on D.
Yeah, and right here, the special teams, this kickoff is going to be huge too. If you remember the Battle game last week, the opening kickoff of the second half, Battle took it for a touchdown.
I'd probably keep with those squib kicks.
Yeah, definitely.
Until you really can solidify your special teams.
Yeah, it seems like it's working out a lot better for them. It allows them more time to get downfield and, close in on the ball, and especially, it helps out if Francis Howell, they get a little confusion there with, who's going to receive it and who's going to be the blockers for them.
And there's room in the schedule to really have games where you're going to, be able to improve. The Howell North game, the South game, the Liberty game. But those are where you work on mistakes. But really, you need to do that in practice as well. So we'll see how they come out with it as we get set for half number 2 here at the home opener for Zumwalt North. Herbst to kick. Pooch kick. Once again. Caught on the far side. Can he get around? No, he won't. Gets down to the 35. Brady Hope with the kickoff return. So 1st and 10 for Francis Howell. Mahoney, Rappling, and Williams on the line for North. Clock starts to run. Fattrell on the near side, Monning on the outside. Man in motion far side. Hand off to Mormon up the middle. Got into the secondary, and he's short.
And right there, you're going to see a lot when Francis Howell goes to run the ball to the outside. They're going to motion big number 88 Brett Norfleet over there and use him kind of as like a lead blocker on the edge.
Yeah, I mean, he's so big. Carthage had a player like that too.
Yes, they did. They had a defensive end as well. He played tight end as well. Yeah.
Mormon fights forward, gets the first, not much more.
And that's one of the things, when you're that big, even if you're not, the strongest or the thickest, your arms are just so long that if you get extension on somebody, there's not much that they can do to you.
And North still doesn't really have the size. So they've got to use speed.
And North has always been like that, for the last 7 or 8 years or so. They've always been the underdogs, a smaller team in almost every matchup they have.
Handoff Mormon. Got through. Falls forward. Give him 5. And they gave him 7. The 3-4 lends itself to speedy defenses, but they've been burned up the middle so far this season. Mormon again. Got through a hole that time that was gaping. Far side and a touchdown-saving tackle. That time by Jaden Lee.
Yeah, and right there, Francis Howell, they're really starting to move the ball, especially in the run game right here. North just doesn't seem like they have any options for it.
They're blitzing almost on every play. Look at this. The linebackers pinch in. Mormon, bad handoff. Pipes had to tuck it. Give him about 2. But on every play, North's inside linebackers are moving up to the line like they're going to try and blitz. Hardly ever do they not rush.
And that's pretty much what they're taught to do. They step up to the line. If they recognize pass, they drop back to a 45-degree angle and help cover the middle. But if it's not a pass right off the jump, they're taught to just kind of press up in the A-gap and maybe not necessarily blitz, but they're at least going to try and stand their ground there and see what's coming.
2nd and 9. That's time Mormon outside. Got through. He's going to be short. 3rd and inches. 9:30 to go. Third and 1. Ball on the 19-yard line. 9:15 to go here in quarter number 3.
Francis Howell with a new running back in the game here.
Yeah, it is. That is number 27. I don't have one on my roster. Pipes to throw. Caught far side. Got through on the strip tackle.
And, you know, we saw that last week with Battle. They would run that same bubble screen play. And, you know, Robert Resnick, once again, you know, he's coming down at that angle. He just needs to try and take a better angle to cut him off there.
Reed Weber almost was stopped short, but flag on the play against North. That's a horse collar. So move it down to the 6. 21-13, 8:50 to go. 1st and goal. Mormon. Stop. Did the ball come out? No, it did not. Mormon was stopped short. That's a tackle for a loss.
Yeah, it was good to see Parker Monning get in on that tackle. You know, early on in this season, we haven't called his name too much.
No, I called his name probably 4 or 5 times a game last year. But now people have film on him. It's kind of an unfortunate situation. But Parker's a good defensive back. 2nd down and 8 from the 8. Man in motion far side. And Futrell getting dominated on the line. Touchdown, Howell. That quarterback counter play is what they've been running. And then they move 88 over. And then Futrell being so much shorter than him.
Yeah, once again, you know, it's just talk about, you know, the great job by Francis Howell by their big offensive line and as well by number 88, the tight end, to really set that edge. And they just make it so much easier for the quarterback or the running back, whoever's got the ball. It's just so much easier for him to really hit a lane and take off when they're dominating that edge.
And he's got a letter out to Mizzou. So they will go for 2 to try and tie. This could be a big play in the game. 8:06 to go. They move it over. Far side Mormon. He's in. Tie game.
And right there is pretty much copy and paste for about 4 or 5 plays that drive.
Yeah,
they
it
motion
was.
the tight end over, and it's a quick little sweep style handoff to the running back. He's just able to get to the edge.
21 all. 8:06 to go. North's going to come out on offense. We'll go to a break. We'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.com.
If you're interested in a tour of the beautiful and historic St. Louis area or a charter trip in one of our luxury coaches, Vandalia Bus Lines can get you there. You might be interested in a tour of the lower 48 continental United States or parts of Canada, or maybe a weekend vacation with a group of friends to cheer on the Tigers in Columbia or the Illini in Champaign. Vandalia Bus Lines, the largest fleet in the St. Louis area, 800-542-4287.
Welcome back, everybody. 21 all is the score. 8:06 to go here in the third. We're kind of setting ourselves up for a shootout.
Yeah, it's starting to look like it. As we get a little later on into the game, you know, they start to tie it up. And, you know, they did a pretty good job that drive, you know, killing some time. You know, it was a pretty run-heavy drive for them.
Deep kick into the end zone. Touchback. This is a very crucial set of downs for Zumwalt North. They kind of need a touchdown right here. This would be a great way to push forward.
You know, at the very least, if they're not going to get a touchdown, they need to get some form of points because Francis Howell, they're thinking they got the momentum right now. And if you let them shut down your offense and they get back on the offense, you know, this game could go south very quickly for North.
Oh, yeah. First and 10 from the 20. Newcomb in the pistol. Man in motion, Oaks. Keeper, option, Oaks to the 20. Oaks to the 25, falls forward. Triple option. Second down and 3 from the 27 as the clock runs now under 7. Raquel, then Oaks, then Rezix, then Maris. Man in motion, Rezix. Futrell rumbles forward, give him the first.
And that's something I like to see from Futrell more. You know, last game against Battle, he had a lot of plays where instead of trying to run through guys, you saw him trying to make that extra move or two, and he would end up slowing himself down and, you know, stopping all of his momentum. But with him being such a big guy, you know, I think he's better off just trying to run through some people and fall forward and get those extra yards.
Well, he is a big power back. But it kind of goes against the kind of offense Joe Bacon runs. He kind of likes to have a scat back, I'm sure, but he's not going to say no to a talent like Chris. Rezix. Keeper by Newcomb, and that was snuffed out. Couldn't quite get the pitch out to Rob. And second and 10 from the 32. Busted play. That brings up second down. Raquel, Oaks, Rezix, and Maris. Rezix in motion again. Keeper again by Newcomb. And he snuffed out that time.
And right there, North went with the little tag option play there, the tackle and guard pulling to the backside for in case Newcomb decides to keep it. However, Francis Howell just really had him outnumbered on that other side of the field, and they were able to shut that down very quickly.
So 3rd and 8. Quarterback read option play. Nobody was there to be read. Back to pass. Looks. Got it off. Almost got it to Tyler Oaks, but incomplete. 4th and 8.
And Francis Howell defense, they got back into Jack Newcomb's face very quickly there, even though they weren't sending a ton of pressure. It was just, you know, a great swim move by number 81 off the edge here on the near side.
So, Chris Raquel into punt. Got to get one off. 5 seconds to get a play. Got it off. The kick. Takes a north bounce across the 35.
And we do have a flag back here at around the 27 or 28 yard line.
Did they touch him?
It was kind of hard to tell. I didn't quite notice any contact
Chop
between
block.
the kicker.
Yeah, chop block against the offense. And they will replay 4th down, it looks like. So they'll kick again. Fourth and 8 from the 34 turned into 4th and 8 from the 18. Nice punt. End over end. He touched it. Loose ball. Does North have it? No. So close.
There are flags being thrown down here. Looks like there's a little extracurricular activities going on between a North and a Francis Howell player.
Sideline warning. Oh, no, excuse me. Personal foul. Offsetting penalty, personal foul. When the game's tied like this, it's just close.
Yes, this game has been very close in almost every aspect of it.
On penalties, on questionable calls, on just spots of balls. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 46 for Howell. .5:18 to go here in quarter number 3. This is a big defensive stand for Zumwalt North to avoid a huge momentum swing.
And one thing they're definitely going to have to key in here, as we've talked about repetitively, is wherever number 88 is on the field, they know if they're running the ball, it's going to be right behind him.
Mormon. Give him 5. But, I mean, Howell's always had hog mollies up front, you know, so they've always had big lines. So they can run any which way almost against, you know, Rappling. The only big guy on the line back there is Williams. Caught by Hetzel in the flat to the far side, wrapped up before he gets to the line. He'll be short.
And especially what you were talking about with, you know, they always have huge offensive linemen for the high school level. And that's part of the reason that they've been such a great program, you know, for the last 10 years or so.
They've just always had to run into Blue Springs or Blue Springs South. 3rd and 2 from the 46. Bleachers start to shake. Here we go. Could this be a big play for the Panther defense? Mormon around the outside. First down into the secondary. Got through. Short of the 30.
And it really seems like here the Francis Howell, their play calling there really attacking Chris Futrell's side of the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell if it's a coincidence just because it's the wide side or maybe they like that matchup between Norfleet and him.
I would say it's the matchup because they know Monning has defensive ability with his sack power. And then Futrell has been kind of in there as a secondary man, and they're just using that physical matchup. You got to change that. Play action pass, bubble screen, incomplete pass.
Number 89's cleat came off there.
Oh, excuse me.
He'll have to run off for a play so we can try and get that back on.
I thought that was the ball. I really need to get my eyes checked. 2nd down and 16 from the 39. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go here in quarter number 3. Pipes got back to the original line of scrimmage.
And one thing North did right there, this time instead of having Futrell to the wide side of the field, they moved Parker Monning over there. See if maybe they can get a better matchup against number 88, the tight end.
Yeah, Norfleet. I mean, I'd almost put your middle linebacker there. Rolling, far side. Could this be a huge play for the Panthers? Pipes, blocking the back. Where is the flag? He got the pass off. They throw, incomplete.
That is really shocking that there is no flag in the backfield right now.
You know where I was talking about, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty obvious block in the back right around the 50-yard line right there on Parker Monning, who was chasing down Alex Pipes.
Yeah, and it was And now it looks like Brandon Mahoney is down on the field. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.com. How is that not a block in the back?
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
What makes high school sports here in Missouri so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
This message presented by the Missouri State High School Activities Association and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back, everybody. 21-21, 4th and 9. Brandon Mahoney coming off the field under his own power. You're in the no man's land of punting, so looks like Howell's going to go for it. Fourth and 9 from the 33. Now they move Futrell to the near side. And timeout. Timeout because of the play clock. So now, 4th and 9 from the 33. 2:29 to go. Two to the near side. They look to get signals. 10 seconds to get a playoff. Pipes has Mormon next door. Got it off. Back to pass. Here comes Monning. He got him. Big play, Parker Monning.
And not only, Parker Monning, obviously, who came up with the sack, but Deshaun Williams coming off that backside, too. He was helping with some of that pressure.
1st and 10 from the 36-yard line, and the T answers right there.
Yeah, we talked about, their defense. They need to start tightening up a little bit, and they come up with a stop at, probably the most crucial point in this game so far.
Because now you potentially can run out the clock in the third without scoring and then score at the start of the fourth. 1st and 10 from the 36, 21-21. North just took over after a great stop by Parker Monning. Futrell, the running back. Hand off Futrell. Rumbles forward. Give him 3.
Yeah, expect right here, the Coach Bacon offense, the Zumwalt North offense, to try and kill as much of this clock as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely, for them, they're looking to kill the rest of the third quarter and then a good 3 minutes at least into the fourth quarter before they want to put points on the board here.
So coming out is Futrell. Coming in is DJ Jones. And looks like Futrell might be nursing a cramp. 2nd down and 5. They gave him 5 on that play. From the 41. 1:35 to go here in the third. Tie game. Man in motion, Oaks. Hand off, Oaks. Got up the hole. Give him a small gain. Third and 4 from the 42. 1 minute to go here in the third. And you're right, Gavin. Tick it down. Back to pass Newcomb. Throwing. Caught by Bobby Maris. Give him the first.
It seems like it's going to be very close here between if they're going to give him the first or...
Yeah, they are. They are going to give it to him.
There it is.
And that helps. Yeah, you're right. Run off at least 3 minutes.
that would be the goal here. You know, with Francis Howell's offense, you know, seeming like, you know, they're pretty lethal at times, and they can very easily put up points if they want to. So it's best to keep them off the field as much as possible here.
Clock's ticking. 1st and 10. Here's Futrell. First down.
Right there by the Panthers, that's kind of interesting. Something you don't see very much. They had the pulling guard, but they still ran that midline style play with Futrell. You know, kind of like they were setting up a trap there.
He's just short. And that should probably be the end of the 3rd quarter. Coach Bacon set up right where he probably wants to end this 3rd.
Yeah, he wants to drive down to the field a little bit, but, you know, not too much to the point where they can still kill some clock here early in the 4th.
So we head to quarter number 4. We're set for a barn burner here in Zumwalt North. We'll be right back. 21-21 our score on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.com.
If you're interested in a tour of the beautiful and historic St. Louis area or a charter trip in one of our luxury coaches, Vandalia Bus Lines can get you there. You might be interested in a tour of the lower 48 continental United States or parts of Canada, or maybe a weekend vacation with a group of friends to cheer on the Tigers in Columbia or the Illini in Champaign. Vandalia Bus Lines, the largest fleet in the St. Louis area, 800-542-4287.
Are you looking to get that extra 10%? Reach the next level with Athletic Republic. Athletic Republic is science-based performance sports training, delivering intense, position-specific one-on-one training. Stop working out and start training. Visit your local Athletic Republic training center today. Athletic Republic, where athletes who give 110% get the extra 10%.
Welcome back, everybody. Start of quarter number 4. My name's Tom Hartbeck alongside... Excuse me there. Oh, I missed it. 1st and 10. Excuse me, 2nd and 10 from the 45. We'll get the niceties away after this play. Back to pass Newcomb. Flush from the pocket, looking far side. Fumble comes out. And looks like North has that ball.
And that comes back to the situation we were talking about earlier. You know, the smarter play would be to just take the sack instead of sitting back there trying to scramble around, you know, trying to force something that you don't necessarily want to.
Oh, yeah.
Because right there the ball comes out and, you know, North is able to recover it. But if they weren't, Francis Howell would be, you know, burning down their necks once again.
So, start of 4th quarter. My name's Tom Hartbeck alongside Adam Lewis, Joey Messenbrink, and Gavin Anderson is our cameraman today. 11:15 to go, 3rd and 7. Back to pass Newcomb. Here comes the rush. Got the pass off. Caught! Bobby Maris. Man, John Elway arm right there.
And give credit to Bobby Maris, too. You know, all game long he's been coming down with some great catches.
Yeah, he has, especially on the sidelines. Big play. 11 minutes to go now in the game. 1st and 10 from the 35. And I'm sure Jack's not going to hike that ball till we see 1. Back to pass again as he rolls far side. Throws it. Caught. And then goes down. Nice catch by Tyler Oakes to move the chains. Excuse me, Rob Rezix.
Great job moving the ball down the field here. North seems like they're going with a little higher tempo offense than what we were maybe expecting them to come out with.
Mm-hmm.
However, it seems to be working. You know, they just keep moving the ball down the field, piece by piece, and they're looking like they're looking to put points on the board right here.
Just tick it down to single digits. Now is your chance to run some running plays. Trips to the far side. Hand off Futrell, hits the hole, give him 5, probably more, and the clock will continue to run.
That's a very good run. You know, here later in the game, I think you should expect to see a lot more runs like that. In between the tackles, you know, meant to pick up 4 or 5 yards and really just kill this clock as much as possible.
2nd and 6. They gave him 4. .940 to go here in the game. 2nd down and 6 from the 19 for Zumwalt North. Hand off to Oaks. Around the outside. Hops through. He got 4 or 5.
And there's a late flag down on the field.
I would only think that's late hit. Targeting. Oh, well, a target. Somebody should be kicked out of the game. Targeting. And 1st down. They will not. That moves the ball down to the 8. And a Panther first. 1st and 8 from the 8. Goal to go. 9:20 to go here in the game. Futrell got through to the 5. And he stopped short, and they can tick off another minute and a half.
And a great run by Futrell right there. You see he was met at the original line of scrimmage, but he was able to bounce off of it, keep his feet moving, and he was able to fight forward and, pick up a decent chunk of yards right there.
He's a downhill runner for sure.
And he's very good at it, for sure.
2nd and 3 from the 3. 8:50 to go. Newcomb gives it off to Futrell. Keeper by Newcomb. He's in. Touchdown. I was sold on that one. Jack Newcomb with a little scamper. North has the lead, 27-21.
And that's one thing that I think Jack really excels at. With him maybe not having the athleticism to break as many tackles or break as many ankles as like Cairo Payne would, but he can sell those fakes out so much better to the point where, he can tuck with it and no one's going to know that he has it.
Hurst to kick. 8:42 to go. Snap back, ball down, kick up. They got it off. No good. Oof. And so now the defense has to come up again. (27-21). That is big.
That is huge, especially, late into a game. You miss an extra point like that, and all of a sudden if Francis Howell scores here and they're able to convert on theirs, all of a sudden they've got the lead and North is a team chasing.
So we'll go to a quick break, and we'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Missouri. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Missouri State High School Activities Association and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back, everybody. 27-21. North up by 6. And this is a big, big defensive set right here. And now they have swapped kick returners. So kick it down low on the ground, I would think. That time they kicked it deep. To the 10. And down to the 30. Nice run that time by Reed Weber.
And he was not going to go down without a fight right there.
No.
Broke at least 4 or 5 tackles before they were able to pull him down.
So they'll take over from the 37. You ever seen those straight line kicks where the kickoff man tries to hit the first guy in front of him and then bounce it off him and get the rebound?
Something out of a movie, like like what happens in Waterboy.
Oh yeah. Mormon around the outside, got through, and he's short of the first.
Once again, Francis Howell just continuing to run the ball right off the edge behind number 88. And really, they're just allowing lanes to open up for the running back. He can decide if he wants to take it outside or try and cut it up middle.
Yeah, North lead. With a darn good tight end. 2nd down and 3, 8 minutes to go. Hand off again, up the middle, 1st down. He gave him 8. 1st down from the Panther 47. Mormon again. Did they get through? Yes, they did, but they can't get him down. And he gets the first.
And there's another late flag. Looks like it's going to be against Francis Howell here.
And so now we get a talking to by the referee. Dead ball, personal foul on the offense. And that'll move him back a bit. 7:27 to go in the game. North with a 6-point lead. Second and 17 from the 46 of Howell. The clock continues to run. Handoff Mormon, they got around! And there goes the flag for a horse collar.
And these flags, they're pretty balanced so far, but it's really going to come back and bite one of these teams,
Face
here.
mask.
Later on in the game as these 7 minutes start to tick down.
So that'll be 2nd and 7, 10-yard penalty. No, move the chains. Automatic 1st down. $7:18 to go. 1st and 10 from the North 36 now. Big play. Pipes keeps it. 1st down to the far side. And stays in bounds and ticks off more time. But they're going to have a lot of time.
You see here, they're just continuing to run the ball. They've noticed that they weren't getting much going with the passing game, but they sure seem to be dominating the line of scrimmage right now, and they're just going to keep running it as long as they can.
Seven minutes to go. 1st and 10 from the 24. New quarterback, Mormon, down to the 5. A lot of time left on the clock. A lot of time.
6:49 left here.
Yeah, with first down and the ball on the 6. Clock runs.
However, it's looking at the point here, you know, with how close they are to the end zone. If they're going to get in, it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to kill too much more time.
No. Pipes keeps it up the middle, in, touchdown. Gotta watch for the celebration penalty. (27-27). 6:32 to go. Plenty of time for the North offense.
We'll see here if they can convert on the point after try. They've already missed
one
one earlier.
Yeah. Big play. Snap back, ball down, kick up. And good. 28-27. Howell with the lead. We'll take a break. We'll be right back on Panther Broadcasting, powered by Prepcast.
Looking to get that extra 10%. Reach the next level with Athletic Republic. Athletic Republic is science-based performance sports training, delivering intense, position-specific, one-on-one training. Stop working out and start training. Visit your local Athletic Republic training center today. Athletic Republic, where athletes who give 110% get the extra 10%.
Welcome back, everybody. Howell just took the lead, 28-27, 6:32 to go here in the fourth. And it's going to be whoever, it's kind of going to come down to whoever has the ball, I think.
Yeah, with only 6:32 left here, I mean, you know, there's a good chance that North could kill all 6 minutes, or they could score in 20 seconds and give Francis Howell the ball back with plenty of time to try and kill.
So a long talking to in both huddles. Very long talking to in the north side. So back deep, Raquel and Futrell. And then back deep is Mahoney to probably be there and block. Oh, excuse me. It's 56. That's Steinmeier. Pooch kick into the end zone. Looked like a pooch kick for a second coming off his foot.
Yeah, that ball definitely had a weird rotation going on through the air there.
Yeah, it was going backwards. So 1st and 10 for the Panthers from their own 20. 80 yards to go. 6:32 to play. They trail by 1. Stay in the middle of the field. Drain all the time down. Get down to the 3. Kick the field goal.
Or we'll see if Zumwalt North here is going to try and maybe punch it in, get a touchdown here, so it puts a little more pressure on Francis Howell in case there's any time left on the clock.
Maybe. Either way, we'll see. Here we go. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. DJ Jones looking. They throw. Caught.
And that's something we haven't seen too much from the North offense really at all is, you know, them motioning the running back out of the backfield to have him go out for a pass like that.
That was Bobby Maris on the catch. Makes it 2nd and 4, and the clock now starts to run. Now 6 minutes. Trips to the near side for Jack Newcomb. DJ Jones in the backfield. Hand off to Jones. Hits the hole. Give him the first down.
They will move the chains here, get another first down.
He barely got that.
Yeah, it was very close. I personally didn't think that he was far enough for the first down.
Clock starts to run. First down from the 30. Newcomb back to pass, looking. Now he's going to keep it himself. Hits the hole, almost stripped away. Give him a small gain on that play, 3 yards.
And that was a pretty heavy hit that Jack Newcomb took there. You know, you see he was sandwiched in between a defensive lineman and a linebacker right there.
5:10 to go. Second down and 9. They motion the running back Futrell again. Back to pass. Newcomb looking. Here comes the rush. Got through the line. Gets through. First down, and give him 15.
And that was definitely a great block right here, right around the 42-yard line from Chris Futrell. He was able to come back and make a block on that linebacker without, you know, absolutely blowing him up and getting a penalty for it.
First down, Zumwalt North, 4:50. A lot of elevated heart rates going right now. 4:57, they trail by 1, 1st and 10. Here they come again. Newcomb got through, falls down, takes a small gain.
Francis Howell really seems here, when North motions that running back out, they really seem like they're trying to send as much pressure as they can.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if they looking at the film from North in battle last week, they'll understand that North struggled to pick up some of Battle's blitzes that they threw at them. Maybe they're trying to take advantage of that, especially without the extra running back there to help block.
3 wide receivers to the far side. Newcomb again. Got to Futrell, and he gets stopped. Give him maybe 1 or 2. So 3rd down and let's say 6. Just shy of midfield. Big play. Trips to the far side for Jack Newcomb. Raquel on the near side. Back to pass. Rolling far side. Has room. Throws it across his body. Caught by Futrell. Down the sideline. Touchdown, Panthers. Wow, what a play.
You talk about bringing out the bag of tricks here. Almost looked like it was going to be picked off. The DB actually played that very well. However, he just misses it. Chris Futrell is able to make the catch, great run after, and take it to the end zone.
They trailed by 1. Now will they go for 2? Wow! Either way, whoever caught that ball was scoring. Wow, no flags on the play. And you might as well go for 2 because anything beats you.
Yeah, right here, you know, you go for 2 and you're able to convert. Makes it a 7-point game.
Mm-hmm. And that would be the biggest play of the game.
Definitely a risky play call, but it worked out.
Wow. I thought that was Jack Newcomb just trying to make a play, knowing that he was going to get sacked. That was by design, everybody. Wow. You'll see the replay of that later tonight on Twitter, I'm sure. 3:37 to go. North with the lead, trying to get to a 7-point lead. Timeout, Zumwalt North.
You know, and that's another thing, talking about the arm talent of Jack Newcomb. You know, it opens up the playbook a little more with some of these trick plays. You know, if he's got the ability to make some throws that maybe some quarterbacks in the past couldn't make.
And Chris Futrell, I didn't even see Chris Futrell where he was. I thought he was pinched in blocking.
Yeah, he did a very good job of kind of sneaking out the back of that, putting himself in a good spot to receive the ball, and he was able to take it to the end zone.
Coach Joe Bacon, don't call that play again because that scared a lot of people who didn't know what was coming. But it worked. 33-28. And they're going to go for it.
Obviously, Coach Bacon's happy with the touchdown here, but do you think, looking back, he was hoping that he could have maybe burned a little more of that clock out?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, too. Don't jinx it, Adam. Knock on some wood around here. Here we go. So here we go to go for two. Newcomb back to pass, looking to the line. No, he tried to shovel it forward, incomplete. (28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33). They lead by 5. A touchdown beats you, and a field goal doesn't do anything. So it's kind of the same way the Chaminade game.
Yeah, definitely, coming down to the wire here. Very close scoring game, all within a possession, touchdown of each other. And I also wouldn't be surprised here if maybe Francis Howell starts to run the ball early, but, if North maybe stops them on the first play or two, maybe it'll be exactly like that Chaminade game. This is going to be Alex Pipes dropping back and throwing every play.
I wouldn't be surprised. A stop on this play almost is the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to get the ball back, there's a chance that Francis Howell could get a stop with their timeouts and have enough time to put something together. However, it doesn't seem very likely.
The way North runs their offense, too.
Yeah, that North offense, they're meant to kill that clock. And, if they only get one first down, that might be the end of the game.
North gets the lead, but they leave 3 minutes and 37 seconds for Francis Howell. 3 timeouts for Howell, 2 for Zumwalt North. Don't go away, because this is a good one, and this game is not over. Davis to kick. They swap back deep. They kick it deep. Caught at the 10. They go far. And they stop him at the 20.
And once again, Parker Monning was there to first wrap him up. With the help of his teammates, are able to bring him down and really prevent them from getting much of a gain at all.
So 3 minutes, 30 seconds, and 80 yards. North just needs a stop somewhere between here and the goal line. A field goal doesn't do it. To the line. 3 wide outs each side. Pipes keeps it. Has a hole. To the outside. Rustled down. No gain.
And right there you see the North defense doing what it should be. Futrell trying to hold his edge as much as he can. And Robert Redzig's able to come up and help make the tackle.
And they get him down to the 19. 3 minutes to go. Second down and 11. Ball on the 20. Here comes the run. Mormon got through. And they stop him. The clock continues to tick. 3rd and 11.
And this is the situation we were just talking about. They stop him the run on the first 2 plays. Do you think they look to pass here?
Yes. 3rd and 11. Ball on the 20. 2:30 to go. The clock is ticking. Pipes back to pass, looking. Monning pressures. They heave it deep into double coverage. Picked off! Picked off! Picked off! They got it! They got it! Kylan Watson with the pick!
And what a phenomenal play by Kylan Watson, being the smaller guy on the edge there.
He dropped it. He dropped it. Just dropped it.
Either way, brings up a 4th and 11 here.
4th and 11. 2:18 to go in the game on the 20. Here comes a Hail Mary. Back to pass. Here comes the bull rush. Here's the flap. Caught. First down.
Right there, you finally see Francis Howell use Norfleet's height to their advantage, to throw it up to him and have him come down and get it with that 6'7" frame.
That's the first time I've seen him be thrown to. So we'll have to do it again from the 44 with 2:10 to go. 3 timeouts for Howell. I might have used that one right there. They will run this time. Keeper by Pipes, and they sack him.
Parker Monning once again coming up huge towards the end of this game here. He's made some really big plays on this last drive here.
And Howell uses their first timeout. 2nd down and 15 from the 39. Huge play to sack right there.
Yeah, I mean, they go with that little, once again, that little tag option, the tackle and guard pulling. And with the way that North defense is set up, he's supposed to follow right down that line, and he's got the QB for the option right there.
And 88 is going to be the target.
Yeah, especially, with him having that 6'7" frame. The only person really on North who is even comparable is Deshaun Williams, who's a defensive lineman.
And he's not going to cover.
He is not going to cover, and that is correct. That's going to be a very tough matchup for North here if they do decide to start throwing to him some more.
Somebody just get some hops. Is it possible that the North basketball team that was very good last year could enlist a player mid-game?
Well, I'm sure that's what they're hoping for right now. They could use a couple of those kids.
Knock on wood. 1:55 to go. 2nd down and 15 from the 39. After the big sack by Parker Monning. Press box is shaking. 2 wideouts far side. Pipes keeps it himself. Option play. And he gets about 5.
Clock keeps ticking, though.
Yes, clock does keep ticking. Gain of 11 on the play, but he's still short. 3rd down and 5. Pipes keeps it. Far side. He is.
Well, that one's going to be close.
He got it. I would say he got it. Timeout. And they will bring out the chains. To me, it looks like he got it. They will measure. First down. They're going to have to start throwing it eventually because they're not very close.
And with only 1:22 left, they still do have 2 timeouts. However, their running style isn't much of, breaking 50 or 60-yard runs. It's more the consistent, 3 or 4 yards a carry.
So after a close first down with 1:22, we'll do it again.
You'll see Francis Howell here go trips to the far side with that tight end included there.
Very true.
Running back to their side, which means they might roll out here.
Pipes looks, floats it deep, has a man. Caught. And right there, it just looked like Bobby Maris got beat. Or Kylan Watson, excuse me.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell, what exactly coverage they were in there. So it's hard to tell if somebody just got beat or if there was a miscommunication between the safety and the cornerback, potentially.
1 minute to go. Pipes is sacked.
"50 seconds here. Francis Howell has not called a timeout yet. Now they do.
And now they have one. Got to just make a defensive stand. 2nd and 9, ball on the 11.
And we were talking about, all game long, and, especially with last week, too, the gut check. And right here, wouldn't you think that this would be a gut check moment,
Oh, yeah.
Just outside your own 10, and you got to come up with a huge stop to win a game here?
These first 2 games are purely designed. Where are we at? You're not going to see Howell again. They have no bearing on your season. This is purely a how good are we. Battle you will probably see again since they're in your district. But you can certainly say that you could have beat Battle.
Especially, later on in the season, you look back at some of the mistakes that were made. Hopefully, you tweak little things here and there, and maybe those won't happen later on in the season.
2nd down and 9 from the 11, 47 seconds. 1 timeout left for Francis Howell. Clock should run, but not after a timeout. Man in motion to the far side. Bobby Maris will cover him. Handoff, Pipes keeps it to the 10. Flag, and he stopped. And the North defensive players like it because it's holding. I'm not going to say that because I don't want you to nothing. 33-28, 39 seconds left. 3rd down and 15 from the 17-yard line. 1 timeout left for Howell. 30 seconds. Back to pass, Pipes looking, throws it deep, it's short. It is picked off in the end zone, and they got it. Picked off Bobby Maris. What a catch. What a game. What a team. What a stand. Listen to this.
Really, that was just a tremendous defensive stand. Definitely the bend but don't break style there. Letting them drive down pretty far. However, it was Robert Rezix and Jalen Lee with the tight coverage there in the end zone.
And then Bobby just swooped in. What a catch. What a catch. Got 1 foot in bounds. 1 foot dragged it, too. What a catch.
Zumwalt North will come out in the victory formation here.
They will knee it. And I don't think Howell's going to stop the clock. That's it. That is it. Adam, what a game. And look at this. They're going to mob Bobby Maris. Wow. 2 seconds and 1. Here's the horn. And North wins a nail-biter over Francis Howell, 33-28, on 2 of the craziest plays I have ever seen on a football field. First play, the cross-body throw goes for a touchdown with Chris Petrell. Then Bobby Maris, probably one of the more ho-hum guys you see on the field. He's not a big guy. He's not, crazily fast. Comes out of nowhere and makes a pick in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, and definitely, here with Fort Zumwalt North and Francis Howell, you always expect a crazy series of events. No matter how the teams match up, there's always going to be a crazy ending somehow.
33-28. Crazy game, crazy plays, crazy calls. Got a little chippy, but everybody held tight. There ain't much more to say about this one, and this is a gut check. You're playing in a team that's a class above you. You won't see again. They play in one of the toughest districts in the state. They're always good, and you beat them 2 years in a row, and this time it's kind of fair and square, all dry, and you beat it with losing 47 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, and not only were they beating a Class 6 team, they're beating the number 5 team in Class 6. So
yes.
They're playing some very top talent here.
You know what? No more else to say. Player of the game goes to Jack Newcomb, Chris Petrell, and Bobby Maris, because their names are the 3 names we've called that made all the plays tonight. Final score, 33-28. North gets their first win here in the home opener for my partner, Adam Lewis. My name's Tom Hartbeck. Joey Messenbrink was our producer. Gavin Anderson was our cameraman. We'll see you next week when the Panthers take on Timberland on Prepcast.com.